Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. This is Catania Alvin speaking from London. Sean Hannity, 4th of the 25th, he's just starting to talk to the President. It's partway through. By the way, there are some other things that I'm going to bring up, and one of them is the Ukrainian situation, which is going back to Victoria Newland's court with a phone call to the ambassador of the Ukraine. So it begins to realize what's been going on.
The White House is the President of the United States. Mr. President, thank you for taking the time. We really appreciate you joining us.
Hi, Sean. Thank you.
All right, a lot of breaking news tonight, and you haven't really talked at length in an interview about a lot of issues. Let me start with this issue of the Ukraine. I don't know if you were following the top of the show or John Solomon's new report, or that both Catherine Herridge and Sarah Carter are reporting tonight. We now have text messages from Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, never before seen, discussing recruiting White House sources to spy on you. Take it in any order you like.
Well, I think it's incredible when you hear it. These are great reporters, all three, and when you have them on your trail, that's a problem. These are people that should be getting Pulitzers, not the ones that got the Pulitzers that got everything wrong. If you listen to them, they got everything wrong. Go back and read some of their early and mid articles. They didn't have a clue what was going on, and they win Pulitzer Prizes. These are the ones that should be winning. It sounds like big stuff. It sounds like very interesting with Ukraine. I just spoke to the new president a little while ago, 2 days ago, and congratulated him on a incredible race, incredible run, a big surprise victory. Got 75% of the vote. But that sounds like big stuff. I'm not surprised.
Mr. President, the Ukraine is offering this evidence to the United States. Would you like the United States, with all this talk about collusion, they're saying they colluded on behalf of Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2016. Does America need to see that information, especially in light of all the attacks against you on collusion?
Well, I think we do, and frankly, we have a great new Attorney General who's done an unbelievable job in a very short period of time, and he's very smart and he's very tough, and I would certainly defer to him, but I would imagine he'd want to see this. So people have been saying this whole the concept of Ukraine, they've been talking about it actually for a long time, you know that, and I would certainly defer to the Attorney General, and we'll see what he says about it. He calls them straight. That's one thing I can tell you.
Mr. President, for our own Catherine Herridge, investigative reporter Sarah Carter, big breaking news tonight. Senate Republican chairman submitted a letter Thursday to the Department of Justice, the Attorney General. We have new text from November of 2016 from Strzok and Page showing the pair had discussed attempt.
I've never seen anything like a blow-up like you've never seen. Now I understand why, because they thought 2 years ago when I said that, just on a little bit of a hunch and a little bit of wisdom maybe, it blew up because they thought maybe I was wise to them or they were caught. And that's why, because if they weren't doing anything wrong, it would have just gone by. Nobody would have cared about it. It was pretty insignificant, I thought, when I said it. And it's pretty amazing. So you see now they're trying to infiltrate the White House. This is long after the election. It's a disgrace. And again, hopefully the Attorney General will do what's right, and I really believe he will.
Mr. President, the Attorney General actually used the word spying on your campaign. We know of Stefan Halper and his contacts that he made with Papadopoulos and Carter Page and Sam Clovis. We know about the FISA warrant. As the Grassley-Graham memo said, the bulk of information in the application was the Clinton bought and paid for Russian, of all things, dossier, ignored by the Mueller report, which I'll ask you about in a second here. But those are two specific incidents of attempts to get into your campaign. Your reaction to all that?
Well, I think they made many attempts, and then you see the lying, and you see the leaking, and you see Comey lie to Congress, nothing happens. You see him leaking, nothing happens. And this is leaking classified information. This is leaking really big stuff. I remember the young sailor. In fact, I helped him out with his family because I thought he was so unfairly treated, as you know. But I remember he had confidential information, which is a much, much lower standard than classified. and they put him in jail for a long time. They took away his life. And then you look at what Hillary Clinton did with 33,000 emails and hundreds of thousands of text messages or emails going through the Wiener server or computer, hundreds of thousands of which many were classified. And nothing happens to her, and yet they put a young sailor on for doing something innocent, showing his mother and his friend what the desk looked like. The desk in a 40-year-old submarine. I think Russia and China would have had that picture many years ago. So it's really a double standard like you've never seen. Very, very unfair. But hopefully that will change. I think that will be changing.
Mr. President, closed-door testimony recently revealed, struck in Page, that they were laughing at the idea that the Hillary investigation was a real investigation, and that it went directly into Loretta Lynch's office, which now raises a whole new set of other questions, and they were confident about that. And it was struck that the interview with Hillary, uncharacteristically, frankly unprecedented, allowed two other people in that interview while she was being interviewed in an investigation. Comey, of course, exonerated her, but he even acknowledged top-secret classified information on that server. I did disagree with you at the time. You, after the election, were basically saying, let bygones be bygones, let's not go down this road. Do you regret saying that? And do you think now, if we really are to get to the bottom and the truth, it has to also include Hillary Clinton, the email server, which would be an underlying crime, and obstruction, which everyone in the media seems to care about, the intent behind the 33,000 subpoenaed emails deleted, LeechBit, hammers, SIM cards?
You know, I don't regret saying it. When I won, they were all saying, lock her up, lock her up. And I said, no, let's get on with life. That was different. It was like right after the election, you want to get a new page and turn over a new leaf. And I said, let's get on with it. Let's, build up the economy, which, by the way, is doing record business. I'm so proud of the economy. We're doing numbers that nobody's ever believed. Probably the best economy we've ever had, best unemployment numbers we've ever had. It's been incredible. But I said, let's get on with our life. Let's forget about the past. But now what happened is, fairly shortly after that great evening, they started coming at us with the insurance policy, and everything they did was so dishonest. And then we really started looking into a lot of things like her deleted emails and acid-washed emails, which is unheard of because of the expense of doing it.
I'm going to put it in the description box and continue listening to it there. Now here is Gateway Pundit and interviewing Andrei Teslenko. Here we go.
About this whole Russian witch hunt is what I call it. Anyway, I linked up with Andrei in the past couple of weeks, and I'm really excited to share what he has to say about some things that happened during the 2016 election that the mainstream media just refuses to report on. So thank you, Andrei, for coming on for a few minutes with me. Maybe you could start out by describing a little bit about your background and what you were doing in 2016, and then a little bit about what's going on today.
Yeah, I'm a former Ukrainian government official. Before I was a Maidan activist, part of the Maidan revolution in Ukraine, and then became an advisor to the first deputy prime minister and advisor to the prosecutor general of Ukraine, and then was working in the Ukrainian embassy in Washington as a political officer, overseeing the elections and the election process in the U.S., the presidential elections. And that's what I did, and what I do today is political consulting, and consult clients all over the world on international relations.
Okay. And Andrei, you were working then in Washington, D.C. during 2016, during the election.
Yes, I was in Washington since December 15th, and I left Washington, D.C. in the embassy, and June 1st I came back to Kiev. I resigned from the embassy, and then I resigned from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Ukraine, which which the embassy goes under in June 17th, officially so.
And that was in 2016 that you resigned, is that correct?
Yes, 2016.
Okay, and so you were working under, was this the Poroshenko government? No? Or is this...
Yes, it was under Poroshenko, and who still is the president of Ukraine. And what's my point of view is I don't want to have this, have Ukraine involved in this as the country or the people.
Right.
Because it's a great country, great people, but it's the Poroshenko government, Poroshenko regime, which was involved in this, which was playing games in bed with the DNC, the Clintons, and the Democratic Party, basically.
Okay.
And,
Interesting. In bed with the Clintons and the Democratic Party.
trying to play their own games.
Right.
And help them win the elections, or help them assist win the elections.
Yeah, so they tried to help the Clintons win at all costs, and you have some background information on that.
Yes, from the beginning, when I was assigned to the post and overseeing the elections, it was a strange process because it could basically, I was ordered to talk to anybody I want except the Trump campaign team, which...
Oh, except the Trump campaign team.
For me was interesting because I used to work in high government positions before that, and I know how basically in trash relations stuff, I know how this process works, and this is not a good start already. So I started to investigate more and more, but which I was told to investigate Trump. Charlie, the ambassador, told me to do that, and I know that he took orders from the presidential administration here in Kiev and from the head of the administration, Lushkin, and the president himself.
I'm going to stop it there. It's a little difficult to listen to him, but I think it's worth persevering. So do persevere with that if you have the patience and the interest as well. Now, I've got here Restored Republic of the 28th of April. I'm going to come down here where it's talking about the FBI conducted a legal spying operation and lied about it to the FISA Court. Horowitz's report, James Comey report, will be bombshells. And this is on a website, What Does It Mean? So, number 2, the significance of the bombshell set to explode over Washington in the coming days is the fact that its detonation fuse was actually lit 3 years ago on 9th of March 2016 and was the date on which NSA Director Admiral Mike Rogers discovered that the FBI was conducting illegal spying operation and lying about it to the FISA Court. That kicked off one of the greatest abuse of power criminal investigations in American history, resulting in the 99-page FISA Court ruling issued on the 26th of April 2017, detailing the massive FBI crimes and that President Trump ordered declassification. Now that was Rogers who did that. That was Mike Rogers. Right, just coming down to number 4. On the morning of 17th November 2016, a steadfast Admiral Rogers travelled to meet President-elect Donald Trump and his transition team at Trump Tower, but didn't inform Clapper about the meeting. And later that evening, the Trump team announced that they were moving all transition activity to Trump National Golf Club in New Jersey, and is why the Combat Veterans for Congress organized has proclaimed Admiral Rogers as being one of the greatest American heroes this nation has ever produced. Yes, honesty, a wonderful, wonderful man, and spilled the beans, thank God. Now, I want to link this also to the fact that Britain, or the British Empire, not the British people, but the British establishment, have been doing everything they can to manipulate war between Russia and America. And they keep failing. Now we've got dear Donald Trump in power. They keep failing. So I'm going to say cheerio, God bless, have a wonderful rest of the day, and the next video I do will be George Papadopoulos actually talking on one of the radio programs how he was manipulated into looking as if he was involved in the Russian collusion. Okay, God bless. Bye-bye.